Rich Tarani here with TMC. Thanks for watching. We're at ITEXPO 2014 in Las Vegas. On the show is Arthur Chang. He's with PanTerra Networks. And Arthur, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Great. Great to be here, Rich.
We're excited to have you. We were talking a little bit before we got on camera about your new product / service. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, we're pretty excited that we introduced it earlier this year. It's called SmartBox. And the easiest way to describe it in its most simplest form is it's like Skype meets Dropbox. So it's really the concept of putting together the two most used services that every company needs to conduct business, which is share content and communicate and collaborate about that content. So why should those be in completely different services with completely different levels of support and reliability and availability? We've actually put them all together in a single service called SmartBox, available on your desktop, on your mobile devices. So now you can share, communicate, and collaborate all in one application.
So really the point here is to allow work groups to be able to be productive regardless of where they are.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the whole genesis of kind of the file sharing industry was the grassroots necessity for we'll call them rogue users and rogue departments to be able to share easily to people outside their company, right? So salespeople being able to send out a data sheet to their end customers. And that whole concept has been really difficult until these cloud file sharing services really solved that problem. The same thing can be said about communications. Communications inside your company was always done by a PBX. But communications outside the company, now that people are on these mobile devices and they're not in any set place, they're remote and they're mobile, has become more difficult. And so what SmartBox does is simplify both of those services, brings continuity in terms of the back end being ultra reliable, ultra scalable, ultra secure, which is something that a lot of corporations see as an absolute importance to deploying these kinds of services in the cloud.
So it's interesting you mentioned security because we are in a very interesting time where nation states are trying to hack companies and services. And so tell me a little bit more about the security, because obviously everyone's concerned now, more so than ever before.
Absolutely. And as companies decide to put a particular IT service in the cloud, certainly there's security there, but if you start thinking about putting multiple services in the cloud, can you imagine the headaches that IT departments are going to go through as they try to determine the security level of this service and this vendor and the security level of this service and this vendor? Not to mention the inter-service conflicts in quality of service and deliverability that can occur between multiple services. Just the other day, recently, 1.2 billion emails and passwords were stolen from 400,000 companies around the world because the level of service was inconsistent. And those particular companies, for example, were saving passwords in text format. And so what we have spent an incredible amount of time at PanTerra is building that back-end platform, which is ultra secure, ultra reliable, ultra scalable. An example of security is we not only encrypt the communications and the content, the file content in transit, but we actually encrypt it at rest. So if someone were to, for example, hack into our service, they couldn't get a password, they couldn't get an email address, they couldn't get an address, they couldn't get any information because it's encrypted even at rest. These are some of the things that are required in industry, in vertical industries that require things like HIPAA. We've expanded that so that all users on our system get that level of security.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about how a company can try out this service. What is there a cost? How does that work?
Yeah. So that's a great question, because in our industry, in the whole telecom industry, there was really no such thing as a free trial or free way to try things. People used to say, well, you need to put a telephone handset on the desktop and you need to install our PBX. At least with cloud, you didn't have to install the back end. You could actually hook it up. But even in that case, you had to set up an account, and it was a fairly labor-intensive for the provider as well as the consumer. And that can still happen, but with SmartBox, we actually have a complete free version. If you think about it, you don't think twice about going to the Google Play Store or the Apple iTunes Store and downloading a free version of, say, Box or Dropbox, and you can configure it yourself. The consumerization of that service has been such that you don't need instruction manuals and videos on how to use that service. And so we've taken that consumerization to heart and brought that level of ease of use and freemium model to the telecom space. So now with our free SmartBox version, you not only get that free file store, sync, and share capability, but you get the free use of all the unified communications aspects too. So sign up for free straight out of the web store. Get someone else, your client, to sign up for free, and you can now make free calls to them. They can be anywhere in the world. You can make free video calls. You can share content with them. You can have free secure instant messaging sessions. Your contact management is all integrated and organized. You can import from Outlook, from Google, from Yahoo. So that freemium model, bringing that to the telecom space, is really going to expand the telecom space. And then to upgrade to the paying version, which is what all companies want to obviously see, is just a simple click of a button.
And that just gives you
ability to go outside of the on-net universe, so you can now make PSTN calls internationally as well as locally. So it gives you a little bit additional features, like the free version is limited to 2 gigabytes of storage. The pay-for version is unlimited storage, unlimited file versioning, so you don't ever have to worry about I accidentally deleted a file. We never delete anything from the user, which is something that's certainly important in content management and disaster recovery, for example.
So do you see this as kind of the future of these two, I mean, really these huge market trends, cloud for storage of everything, and then we've got IP communications and WebRTC and a lot of different IP communications type technologies that are evolving. So you're just bringing these together. So really what you're saying is companies should adopt this service instead of either one or the other, and then having to, have these disparate kind of services, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in any of those markets, people see the value and the advantage of cloud, right? The cloud has so many advantages, from financial advantages to global consistent deployment advantages to better integration with mobile devices and multiple bring your own device kinds of capability. So the inherent benefits of cloud are pervasive across multiple services. And so then the question becomes, as I start to move 2, 3, 4, 5 cloud services into the cloud, as an IT manager of an enterprise, how do I manage all those vendors? The best analogy that we talk to customers about is we say, think about how the personal productivity software market space evolved. In the very beginning, you had Lotus for spreadsheet, you had WordPerfect for document processing, you had Corel Draw for presentations, and you had DBase. So 4 completely separate companies providing individual products, very successful in their own right. And then along came Office. And the aha moment for the industry was when an Excel chart could be dragged and dropped into a Word document. And Lotus and WordPerfect couldn't do that. And now look what's happened, right? Those companies don't exist anymore. Individual apps don't exist really anymore. And the same thing is going to happen with cloud services as vendors such as PanTerra can deliver an ultra-reliable, ultra-scalable, ultra-supportable platform that can show seamless integration of communications, storage, mobility, security, all of these things coming together seamlessly. It's inevitable.
So Arthur, there's a next phase then to add email and to add other things that we would use in our personal lives or work lives?
Absolutely. We've built the platform now, and we've got the 2 most pervasive services out there, content management, file sharing, and communications. And what you're going to see is we'll take other universal services that IT wants to move up into the cloud, mobility services such as device management, mobile device management, asset management, and other services as our customer base, our enterprises, want to move them to the cloud. You're going to see us deliver more and more services with the back end so reliable and so supportable. It just makes sense.
Very exciting. Thanks for being on the program. This is great.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.